Today, a very angry father who's hunting for the school teacher he believes turned his kid bisexual. Yes, seriously. It is time for today's terrible person. Meet Philip Hamilton. He's a guest on a far-right podcast called In the Trenches with Teddy Daniels. Now, I guess the host was away and the guy on the right is filling in. Now, he never speaks. That is his only facial expression. He may, in fact, be a still image. I am not sure. But let's get back to Philip Hamilton, who says teachers are indoctrinating our children. And he says he's got proof. His own daughter. Take a listen.
She came out to me and said, well, Dad, I'm bisexual. And this is when she was 12 years old. I said, well, you're too young to be really going into whether or not you're bisexual. You said you're not at a dating age.
You deserve to be dismissed. You don't have to be at a dating age to know who you are and who you like. And if you have ever been around an actual 12-year-old, you know kids at that age can absolutely know if they are straight or not.
I found out later on last year that the problem was much worse than just being bisexual. She came out and said, well, I'm no longer being identified as a she. I'm a they, them.
I love how he thinks this is funny and says things like, I'm a they, them, which I will bet you anything were not the words his daughter used. But he goes on, and he really seems to be having a good time as he makes fun of his own child.
My new name is Phoenix, which is, I guess, symbolic of her rising from the ashes and dismantling her gender ideology and transforming something new.
Yes, they are rising from the ashes of your parenting ideology. You know, it's actually not that hard. Just love the kid you have, not the kid you think you should have. Which it sounds like mom and her side of the family are doing, but not dad. Definitely not dad.
And I said, just because your mother's family is going along to get along and supporting this doesn't mean that I, your father, am going to stand for this. I told her, you need to go to the church. You need to realize that this is not the right path for you.
Let's talk about the path that you, an outstanding dad, have chosen. The path where you go on a far-right podcast and smirk as you trash your own kid. You say you're not going to stand for this. Well, guess what, champ? It is not up to you. Kids don't need their parents' permission to decide who they are.
You know, I asked her, what teachers indoctrinated you with this? And she refused to tell me.
Imagine your kid coming to you and sharing this, telling you who they are, and the first thing you think is what teacher indoctrinated you. That is not how any of this stuff works. Teachers don't turn nice church-going kids into non-binary bisexuals. It is not like your perfect imaginary daddy's girl was on the right path until Mrs. Winthorpe's class, and then everything fell apart. All your great parenting work destroyed. All of your telling your child who to be instead of just listening when they tell you who they are.
It infuriates me to this day that the public education system has, poisoned the mind of my own daughter.
The real poison here is whatever somebody fed this guy to make him believe that if we just rooted out the evil teachers, we, wouldn't have queer kids anymore? Can you possibly be that clueless? You know, it's easy to laugh at people like this, but here's the thing. This guy is a candidate for the Virginia State Senate, so it's actually not that funny at all. Because people like this, running for state legislatures or local school boards, well, they can do real damage by passing bills like Florida's outrageous Don't Say Gay law, that now limits discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity through 12th grade. 12th grade. They actually believe if you don't talk about it, it won't happen. Look, nobody turns anybody anything, and you can't keep kids from finding out who they are by trying to make sure they never hear words like queer or bisexual. Pew Research asked gay, lesbian, and bisexual adults when they knew they weren't straight. 27% said they knew before they turned 10, and 41% knew between 10 and 14. The median age was 12. Not 12th grade, by the way, 12. So sure, blame teachers, because that's so much easier than just accepting and loving your own kid. And hey, Phoenix, rock on. You are awesome.